Hello out there, Paris Law here, and today I'm going to do something slightly different than what I usually do when I make videos, and I'm actually going to take on one of the most frequent customer questions that I get, especially from new white label content users, and that is basically, how the heck do I quickly turn around this white label content so that I can start giving it out to clients and selling it as my own? What's the easiest path to just converting it into something usable? And there's a lot of videos and a lot of techniques out there of things you can do. You've probably seen your email list fill up with ideas of what you could do with the PLR content, from making an online course, creating a podcast, recording an audiobook, making a magazine. But sometimes you want to just quickly turn something around and give it out to your customers or your audience, give them something that they can use that's branded for you, and it's out there very quickly. And that's what I'm going to show you how to do today, because that's what I kind of focus on. One thing that I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use a PLR, just to, or a private label rights content, which is white label content, and show you how I will convert it. Now, I just bought this PLR here, and the first thing that I'm going to do is I always open it up so that I can see the contents that are inside. And what I like to do is I actually like to eliminate some of the stuff that I won't use, and just for the purposes of doing it for you, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to open up the copy so you can see how I make these changes. So the first thing is, I see that there's a 10-day challenge. There's the email sequence, might use that. There's some articles, probably going to use that. There's an ebook, definitely going to use the content there. The graphics, they look great, they look nice, but actually when I start to work with white label content, I don't use any of this. So I'm actually just going to delete that. It's a nice attractive add-on, but it doesn't actually give me anything that I want. And I see this lead magnet. It's got some visualization secrets, and I know that my audience loves to learn about visualization techniques, so I'm actually going to open that up because I want to see what comes out of it. Alright, so the first thing that happens is when I look at some content that I want to use, I take a quick look. Okay, this is going to have its own little cover, but it's got an iPhone on it, so, or iPod. I'm not a big fan of that for myself, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. And so one of the things is, yes, you could go through this content and try to tweak it, but we're talking about rapid production. So one thing that's happening is right now it's just a whole bunch of text that also has a link in here, and that needs to be updated. So I'm not even going to use this Word doc here. What I'm going to do is I move to what's called a boilerplate. Now, I'll show you what that is in a second, but before I do that, what I need to do is think about the name that I want to have for this document. I don't want to use the exact same name that is used on the white label content, because that's the easy route, and probably a majority of people who are just not willing to put in the effort will just use it that way too. It's worth it taking the extra 3 minutes to 10 minutes that you need to think of a name that will actually be attractive to your clients, but also unique enough so that it can stand out as your own brand. And so I'm just going to think about that for a second. So it's got visualization secrets of the champions and high performers. So I'm just going to call it that, you know, the visualize like a high performance athlete, or actually, since I have something here, I'm going to actually make that mind fitness. How to visualize like a pro athlete. Boom. So that's going to be my name for now. I'm actually going to delete that. And I'm going to move over to, now that I have a name, I'm going to move this over to my boilerplate. And so I prepared this boilerplate on my desktop for you. And what a boilerplate is it's basically a template that I've created so that I don't have to recreate my formats and everything. And let me show you what that is. It just makes it easier when I want to make content my own very quickly. And so on the boilerplate here, I'm going to make this screen smaller. Make this one bigger. So you can see here I've pre-created a cover page in Microsoft Word, and this is pretty easy to make. If you let me know, I can show you how I do that. But you know, it has an editable title section, it has an editable subtitle, and so I'm gonna put that in here as Mind Fitness Guide. I just decided to change that at the last second, and I'll reduce the font so that it fits. To visualize like a pro athlete. So I have this nice, you know, cover for the document already, and I didn't have to, you know, go make anything new. It's got a nice little background, and I'll actually show you where I get some of these backgrounds for a second. So yeah, why don't I just go ahead and show you how I make this. What I do is I look for a subtle pattern. I look for a pattern that I can use and repeat. So you can see subtle patterns from Top Tall. Great place to just find some simplistic backgrounds. And so these backgrounds are what you can choose from. Just make sure you choose something that has the rights so that you can use it. That's all you have to do is check and make sure, because all patterns on the site can be used free of charge, but please, you know, read this before using them about how to use that. And what I've done is I'm actually going to click on the background so that you can see it. So for example, and basically I take a page from the beginning. I will first break down I'll do a page break to the next page so that it breaks that section. Then I can put my title page here. And I'm going to insert a shape and just have that shape fill up the whole page. I like to remove the edges just so that it's clean. and I'm going to change the page fill to a texture, and that opens up options in Word so that I can make the cover look nicer. Now I could also do like a gradient fill, and that could also make it look nice without too much work, but what I'm going to do is a pattern fill, and these basic patterns are not very attractive to me, so I will go for a picture and I will use my own to fill it in. Now the great thing about using a pattern is that it's very lightweight. It doesn't take up a lot of memory. So these are like 8 KB, and so I have like a grid pattern that is subtle and clean. I also have like a light check. The one I'm using is, that's not that one. There it is. It's the maize black. And so if I insert that in there, first thing it's going to do is try to stretch it, which makes it look very pixelated because it's so small. But if I tile it, it's a pattern that looks very, very clean. Now from there, I could also insert a text box on top. Remove the lines, no fill. Then I insert the text, my title, center that. Now I've got a title to go on top, and it's going to be a nice looking cover for my ebook without me having to go into Photoshop or Canva or doing all this stuff. So it's a very good way to make a minimalistic type clean cover that is there and usable. And even if I convert this to a PDF, if like I print as a PDF, so then I've got that PDF created. So it's a sample. When I open it up, boom, it's got a full cover. It doesn't even have that white space. I could have adjusted the shape so that it could fill up the whole thing. It's got those patterns there. And then I would just have my book to follow. So that's a quick way to make a cover, in case you didn't know that. But going back to where we were, let's get back into like how to continue. So the first thing is make sure you have a cover and you have a name for your new product. And after that, I have a section where I have my copywriting stuff, earnings disclaimer, and legal disclaimer here, so that it's already built into my boilerplate. That's what makes the boilerplate special, is that you don't have to go back and copy and paste all this stuff in here. And the other thing is then I have my introduction here with a link to my website, so that it's easy, because this is all stuff that I'm going to put on all the content that I make downloadable. So if I do this and make it into an automatic template, then each time I open it, then it will come out that way. And so once you create something like this that has these sections and it's the way you want it, you can always update it later. But you can also just keep it as it is and just change around the copyright each year. And if you save it as a template, then you'll be able, save as template, you'll be able to use that from then on. I'm going to save it on my desktop just so you can see. So I saved that as a template that can be used. And now, because it's a template file, whenever I open this, it's going to open as a new document. Boom. So you see how it says document 2. It's a completely new document, and it's already kind of set. Now you may want to check that your title's not saved as a template this way, because otherwise you'll have to update that each time. Just have something like change title here. And now what I can do is I can just go through my content here and think about what I want to use it as. So I'll start with this one, champion athletes, blah, blah, blah. They visualize success. It's based on a couple of concepts. Is a lock on a large safe. One number will not open the door, but the correct combination. But the correct combination of numbers will lead to riches. So I don't mind that introduction. So I'm going to say introduction here. And because it's in my boilerplate, I can make sure that it has Georgia, because that's a standard font that I use. And then I can check out my titles, and they're already set. So another thing about having a boilerplate is that now you can make sure that your fonts are standardized whenever you paste stuff in, because on this side it's Calibri, but on this document I like my text to be Georgia, so I can go ahead and do that. So I just like that section. So I use the destination theme, and boom. Da, 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 da. Okay, all the way up to that link is where I'm okay with it so far. Now, when you do go through and edit, of course, you know, the more thorough you are with the checking and editing, the better it will be, because later I'll probably go through it and then tweak a few parts to make sure that it resonates with my audience and that I have the examples actually match what they're looking for. But that is a quick way to get your ebook or your guide started. So I've placed this into a new document. I've used my PLR, and now it has a unique cover. It's got my own copyright. It's got information about me, and it's got all the content already in there. I didn't have to play around with fonts and headings anymore because I've already created the template, and it even has a footer with my link built in, so that my document's ready to go. Boom. I can and if I just put the whole thing in there, I would probably update that link so that it has my own affiliate ID. But let me just go ahead and paste that in here so you can see the whole thing. And that is a quick way to rapidly create a product from your own white label, because now it looks different, it looks new, and you didn't have to do anything super complicated or technical. Now I can just save this, Mind Fitness Guide, visualization. I'm going to save that doc so I can update if I need to, but then if I want to publish it for other people to download, then I'm just going to save it as a PDF, and I'll leave it as best for printing. And boom. Done. Like that. I'm not going to worry about the changes. Subtle patterns. And my guide is here. So, boom. Nice little cover. No white space. It's clean. It's got me, copyright, author introduction, and the content. Now, I could easily just go ahead and make some modifications to that, and you can make columns or add some pictures in here. But again, this was just to quickly do it, and that's how you can quickly use your white label content to make something that is branded by with your own name very fast. Hope you like that, found it useful. Let me know, and if you have any questions, be happy to answer them. All right, hope you have a good day. Bye, or as they say in Chinese, 再见.